Hey everyone, what's up? This is Mozart speaking. In this post, I want to bring some good news, probably showing a scenario with a strong continuation of growth for the entire crypto market. So, for the most part, I'm talking about altcoins right now, not Bitcoin. For Bitcoin, we have a position, an open long at the level of 96,990. I posted the take profit in the Telegram channel, the cancellation point. Yeah, a close below the cancellation point means it's a stop loss exit. That's how it works. It's also available in the Telegram channel. I don't give these signals on YouTube. If you want to get them, the link to my Telegram channel is in the description below this video. I just set the take profit level and the stop loss level there. So, everything is great with Bitcoin for now, but it's even better. Now, let's talk about what's going on with altcoins. Let me show you. 2. Analyze altcoins. We need to look at Bitcoin's dominance, which is currently declining. And I have it open, the 4-hour chart. What do I like here? Well, first of all, the most important thing is that you need to understand that any major movement, meaning movement on higher time frames, starts from the lower time frames. And right now, the 4-hour chart is my go-to from the lower time frames. And what I like here is, on the 4-hour chart, first of all, we have a bounce that started. This is regarding the dominance. The bounce began on December 8th. It was right here. 2 attempts. Going back to the 200 moving average, this white line is basically the main moving average for any time frame. The first attempt turned out to be a false one. Then, during the drop, the second attempt to come back also ended up being false. The price has returned. So this moving average, I'll say it again, that's the first time, second time, third time. Usually when the candles come back, I won't call Bitcoin's dominance a price. That sounds weird. In this case, it's more like some kind of price index or candles. They're coming back for the third time under some important moving average, and there's a good chance they'll stick around there. So in this case, the trend is either changing downwards or it's going into a long descending sideways movement, because before that, this period was an upward trend. Accordingly, in this case, the trend either changes downwards or goes into a long downward sideways trend. Because before that, this period was an upward trend. On top of that, I'm also looking at the 4-hour chart. We had this descending channel where there was a low somewhere, but that's not important. The diagonal resistance from above is important, drawn from 2 points. There it is. And here we had a false breakout of that diagonal resistance. Considering that there was a false breakout here, we can roughly estimate the target for where the dominance will head on the further decline, taking into account the third drop below the 200 moving average. This is the center of this channel, the center of this channel, plus these 3 marks here. So that's roughly the target for the dominance, around 54%. Next, what else could indicate this? There's this pattern. In technical analysis, it's called elder, and he refers to it as a failed swing. For me, this is just a double top, or HLH, or maybe a HH. HLH, or AJ. So, that's high, lower high. Well, in this case, it's high, lower high. The next high is lower than the previous one. This pattern plays out to the height of its reversal. The next high is lower than the previous one. This pattern plays out to the height of its reversal. So, it's basically a standard double top. Here's its height, the height of its base. We're measuring that height straight down from the supposed breakout point. And we get a target mark around 53.5. I took that with a margin based on the maximum height, not taking into account just the bodies, and at a minimum, if we only take the bodies, it'll be exactly that 54%. So, the target range for the dominance drop is around 54%. Everything is pointing to that. For now, this is on the 4-hour chart and the daily chart. To be even more certain, this was confirmed, meaning at the bottom of the VKI, the price shows pretty much the same thing. This dominance was a false breakout of this very channel. Here it is red. Here it is orange. But at the bottom of the VKI, we're currently stuck and trying to break through the combination of the 250 moving averages. Although, already, 50th, yellow, crossed, 200th. So, that's the well-known death cross signal. It doesn't always play out. it's a 50 to 50 chance. Sometimes it turns into a sideways market. But even in the case of a sideways market, it usually trends downwards if there's an initial impulse. And here's the initial impulse. It went down. If it were going up, it would be an ascending sideways market. Plus, we have this white ascending channel, 1, 2, built based on this triangle. And just to be extra sure, of course, to go all in with everything you've got, I would wait for more confidence. I'll repeat, a close below this white ascending channel. In this case, it would be approximately below 57.2% and even better below 56.0%. The monthly S3 pivot, the lower boundary of the inner corridor, is also located here. Here is also the level. That will indicate the actual closing. This reversal pattern, starting here, at the current levels, go all in on a long position. Well, it's risky for now. Still on the daily chart. This is a higher time frame, and the price is currently struggling with the 200 moving average. There's not a lot of confidence here that it's definitely going to go down. I mean, on the 4-hour chart, the confidence is higher. There's less of it here. There's less of it here. Here, like this, all this can be taken long. On many strong coins, which I consider strong coins. Well, at the moment the market is some kind of SU, and this is even a bar. This is already Solana. This is already Litecoin. This is Dogecoin. Perhaps Pepper will join it again. Algo. By the way, Algo. Something like that. I think ETH will join in, because if dominance ends up going below this low, well, it won't just drop across the board. It'll fall on the ones with a lot of market cap. It's mainly Ripple and ETH. Well, Ripple is going there too, and Stellar as well. Probably, that's the main thing I wanted to say. But, on the daily chart, you can basically start trying some longs from the current levels. Why? Because they are external conditions that indicate that we went through, specifically the PPI and CPI, which turned out to be lower than expected, which is really good for risk assets and could potentially add to the underlying rhetoric. Freeze at the meeting on December 28th to 29th. And I think the markets will be pricing in a more dovish rhetoric, specifically at Powell's press conference in the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks. The same goes for how Total 3 looks. I've talked about it a lot. The target for it is 1.3 right now. That's $1.3 trillion. So basically, we're on the verge of closing. This double bottom. 1, 2. It's the same pattern I showed with dominance, just flipped the other way. The target, right on that double bottom, just at the minimum. I'm taking it right at the minimum, purely based on the tails. That's the mark of 1.18, and we'll take it right at the peak. At the very peak, along with the shadows, with a margin, with everything. 1.27. We need to take profits there. I'll lock in profits there. At this level, I plan to sell everything off completely. At the mark of 1.3. Trillions of billions of dollars. Well, starting from around 1.25, from 1.2, I'm going to start selling off. Because I, of course, cannot be sure that we will definitely hit 1.3. And we might not go a bit higher or just miss the 1.3 mark. After we get to the 1.3 marks, a weekly divergence will form here. Most likely a weekly divergence will form. And this will give a strong correction. This is, in my opinion, how it will be now because, well, it's simple. Altcoins move similarly before corrections. More often, right before serious corrections, it formed a weekly divergence. 1, less often. 2, it was 2 in 2021. 2, all is 1. There was mainly 1. And, therefore, everything comes from one another and everything corresponds to one another. And the dominance already looks like it's time to take some careful long positions, but not go all in. And hear me right. You can already start taking cautious longs on the dominant assets I just mentioned. And, hear me right. You can already start taking cautious longs on the dominant assets I just mentioned. And, when the dominance solidifies, and of course, if it solidifies below the 56.7% mark, below that, this low here, preferably below the S3 monthly pivot, will confirm the trend reversal, marking a definitive break of the 200 moving average, and then it will really kick in. The death cross, and this is the reversal pattern. Most likely, that's when you can go all in, so to speak. That's all I wanted to say, and hopefully, for those who are invested in altcoins, this brings at least a little bit of joy. The expected window for growth is around 2 weeks. Until the meeting. Well, what will happen then? What was said at the meeting? What will Comrade Pavel tell us? Did it affect? Will the lower inflation figures affect the future decision of the Fed, or not? That's it. Thank you all for your attention. Wishing everyone a great day. This was Mozart, and goodbye everyone.